So this session is a regular session that we do on meetup.com. So we have a meetup group which is called All Things Data. And earlier we did a lot of sessions on making data useful for machine learning. And this session will be focused on storytelling using data. So myself, Bhavuk Chawla, and I'm founder of a company called Data Couch. And we have one office in Mohali, and we also have one office in Malaysia. So I'm having a lot of certifications in multiple areas. Specifically speaking, like I'm a Google certified machine learning engineer and Google certified data engineer. So let's get started. So this is the agenda for today. We will be focusing on data science lifecycle, and then we will see where exactly is this storytelling coming into picture, and we will also be looking into Python code. But there will be some theory initially, and then after that we will switch over to the hands-on. So this is the plan for today, and it may take 1 hour or so, but it may take longer than 1 hour also. So let's see how it goes. So this is a much more detailed introduction about me, and I'm having 16 plus years of experience and working in multiple projects. And I'm an official representative for Google, Confluent, Cloudera, and we have done a lot of sessions for different companies, including Google Singapore, Microsoft Bangalore, Starbucks Coffee, Adobe, and many other companies. So I was recognized by Cloudera as the Instructor of the Year 2016, and recently I was recognized by Pluralsight as an Elite Instructor. So this is about us. So we are working in various areas: big data, machine learning, deep learning, data science, DevOps, and cloud infrastructure. So you can go to our website, and there you will find much more information, like datacouch.io. That is the website address. So we have done a lot of knowledge sharing sessions for different participants across globe. So these are some glimpses of some of the knowledge sharing sessions that we have done in various companies. So this is what we were discussing earlier. So we have covered a lot of things related to data cleansing, how to make data useful for machine learning. So last few meetups, we were having these discussions. So we are also planning to release one course, making data useful for machine learning. That is like, that will be there on our website, elearning.datacouch.io. So today we will be focusing on data visualization, and this is like related to storytelling and how do we present data in a meaningful way so that management can take decisions and we can interpret the results of machine learning model to the management. So these things we want to focus today. So overall, in the data science life cycle, you see, we discussed in the previous meetups that data scientist is like a chef, and chef is performing experiments in the kitchen. And if you have watched any master chef program, then you would have seen this thing, like the master chef will give the feedback to the chef, like the presentation is not good, taste is good, but presentation is not good. So there are so many master chef programs in which you must have heard about this feedback. So that means chef is responsible for presenting it in a meaningful way, so that the management can consume. So our customers are not the people who are coming into the restaurant, but our customers are those who are basically consuming our reports, right? So that is basically the idea behind this storytelling with data. So this is data scientist's responsibility to present it in a meaningful way. So chef's responsibility. So we were taking this analogy, data scientist is like a chef. Yeah. So this is the background, and specifically we are delving deeper into one area into this entire data science lifecycle. So storytelling is an art, and it is also a science. So when I say storytelling, it's basically like presenting it. And if you don't present it in a meaningful way, then it can be like a problematic, it can be confusing, and it can be misleading for the management. So we want to solve this problem. So my first question is, like I just gave you some hints. My first question to you is, why do we do storytelling? Why storytelling is important? Can someone tell me why storytelling is important? What is the benefit? Effective storytelling. Yeah.
So it brings across the message more effectively so that the audience can remember.
Yeah. Effective communication of the results to the audience, right? Okay, any other thing that comes to your mind apart from effective communication of results? So it covers a lot of things actually. When I say effective, then it covers, I'm just adding this thing, avoid misleading info or misleading results, or the direction of the management should not be, they are not misled, right? So these things, we are avoid misleading audience. Apart from that, we also want to avoid any confusion. We avoids confusion. So if you have effective communication, then we are avoiding, it basically avoids misleading like misleading the audience, and it avoids the confusion, right? So basically you can use data to influence decision making. So you can use, if you are doing storytelling with data, so you can use data to influence decision making in the right direction. So it's very similar to that, but I'm writing it explicitly because it is having data in it. Okay, what else? What else? Why do you think like this is quite important for any organization? So it is basically giving you opportunity to present the story, and you know every data has a story to tell. So you are presenting that story from the data, and you are inspiring people to act. So it inspires people to act. So you know there are like few things. Very first thing is we have exploratory data analysis. Another one is explanatory. Explanatory, what is the difference? Explanatory data analysis, anyone wants to comment on that? Explanatory data analysis. So can someone share like what is the difference between exploratory data analysis and explanatory? This is explanatory data analysis.
Yeah, I have worked on exploratory data analysis, but I'm not sure about explanatory. So exploratory is when you are analyzing how the data is structured, what are the trends in each of the variables.
Yeah.
And if we want to communicate, we are using graphs and communicating the trends in the data. And explanatory, I'm not sure what it is.
Some people actually mix these two things together. A lot of times, very thin line between these two terms. So exploratory data analysis specifically focuses on understanding the data and figuring out what is interesting in the data and what to highlight in the data. So let's say we have heaps of data, we have huge amount of data. Within that, you are able to figure out like this is the important thing that we want to highlight. For example, we want to highlight how many iPhones were sold, right? Or maybe you want to highlight who are the rarely visiting customers or who are the most frequently visiting customers. So you are basically getting that insight, and you are exploring the data, you are analyzing it, you are doing group by sort and multiple things, and you are using df.head, df.shape, understanding everything. Like if there are outliers, if you like this is exploring, like you are exploring data, you are hunting for important information in the data. And explanatory focuses on, let's say you got some results and now you want to explain what is the story behind it. So this is more about explaining. This is about explaining and explaining the results that we got from the exploratory data, and then you are explaining the story behind the results that we got from the exploratory data analysis. So a lot of people like they actually merge these two things, but there is a thin line between explanatory and exploratory data analysis. So that's why I wanted to start with this, so that when we see some examples, then it will be much more clearer. I hope this makes sense. Like we are explaining, we are interpreting, we are telling the story, we are specifically highlighting like the things that we got out of exploratory data analysis. Now, how it looks like overall in a bigger picture, and we actually start to explain it to the audience. So that is basically the final result that we are presenting. Maybe that, or it can be like during the process you are actually during the data science process, because it is an iterative process. During that process you are actually presenting it. So this is like high level difference between these two. If you have any questions anytime, feel free to ask. Okay, so if we are okay, then we can actually move on, and we can actually discuss more what are the other things that we can actually consider, like why storytelling is important to us. Anyone wants to share this thing, like if you do exploratory, like if I just merge these two things, exploratory data analysis and explanatory, and if I say that why it is important to us, if you are doing visual way, through visually, if you are presenting your data, then why do you think like this is important to us as a data scientist? So can I say that we can actually find out if there are some extreme cases in our data? So you are inspiring people to act, and also during this storytelling, you are also talking about, you are explaining the extreme scenarios, uh, extreme conditions, or extreme scenarios, for examples, anomalies in the data, right? So that can be one thing, or maybe you, in very simple terms, I can say, like, or maybe outliers or extreme values. uh, you can talk about those. Maybe those outliers are because of some sensor calibration issue, or this is something which is like actually a real world scenario, and it is part of the data, and you are explaining like the cases where the results will be very different, and audience should know those things. So basically you are explaining the extreme conditions, right? And then you, when you are explaining, then you can also highlight, highlight the relationship. You can highlight the relationship among various features, and among various features, or features and labels, or target, or features and target. So I understand I did not explain what is feature and target, but just understand, like we are presenting, let's say you are presenting what will be the price of a property in this particular region after maybe corona. So if you are presenting that, then you are actually talking about the number of corona cases, number of deaths because of corona, number of active cases, and because of that, like how do you see, like the things will happen, and the property prices will change over a period of time. So you can actually present that story, like you can actually highlight those relationships to the management. Now any other thing that comes to your mind, like which you think that we should basically have here, before we now talk about what are the ways of doing storytelling, how can we do storytelling? Okay, so I see there are no questions or no comments, and there is no change in the status. So now my next question to you is, what are the different ways of presenting your data? So how can we present our data? uh, our data, right? So can someone tell me what are the different types of charts, or maybe we say graphs, that we can have for presenting our data? Yeah, Pujita.
Bar graphs, histogram,
Okay, bar chart, histogram. Okay.
pie charts,
Okay.
um, then trend lines, the line charts,
Line chart. Okay. Anyone else? Line chart. Okay.
box plots.
Box plot. Okay. Any other type? Any other type? You might have seen maybe some other type of chart, if you can share. Have you heard about heat maps? And then donut chart is there, and then there are so many scatter plot, and so many types, pair plot, and so many types of charts, but we will keep it short for the time being. We will have like a stacked bar chart. We will discuss, and we will see like how much time we have, accordingly we will see, but I am capturing there are so many types of visualization. We'll keep adding here. So now question to you is, like, which one to choose when, like which type of chart we should choose when. So that is the question that we want to address here. So how will you decide which type of chart should we go for? Anyone wants to comment on that? Which type of chart, how we will decide? Yeah, Diptansh.
Depends on data.
Okay, so what kind of data you will choose?
Suppose we are getting 100% of data. uh, for that we can consider pie chart.
Okay, so you are saying
That
composition.
out of this 100%, this much is this, and 50% is this and this.
So I'm capturing, am I representing a composition of data? If you are showing some breakdown composition, maybe how many seats a particular political party won in the last election, or maybe during exit polls, or you're presenting like this particular property, like political party got these many seats, or this particular property political party. I'm mixing property into political party. So political party, how many seats? So basically, you are showing the breakdown. You are showing a composition.
Yeah.
So in that case, you are saying pie chart can be useful. Right? Or we also have other types of chart, which is called stacked bar. So if time permits, I will show you how it looks like. Okay, this is a very good point that you have brought in, Diptanj. Any other thought, like any other criteria to decide which chart should I go for?
If we are analyzing the trends, we usually go with line chart, like for stock market analysis. On a day on day, what was the price of a particular
Very nice.
stock?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, if I am interested, am I interested in finding trend? Then I can say I need something like maybe line chart, which should show me a trend, how it is varying over a period of time, maybe time series. Okay, great. What else? Uh, what else apart from this trend and composition?
If we want to check anomalies, then we can use box plot.
Very good. So, am I
Outliers.
interested? I think you were part of the last session where we
Yeah.
discussed this. Is very nice. So, am I interested in outlier detection or anomaly detection? Then I can say box plot is one way. And then we also have, this is like box plot is for one variable, univariate. But you have scatter plot, which is for bivariate. And you can also have maybe bubble plot if you want to go beyond 2D and you want to have more than 2 dimension, 3 dimension, 4 dimensions can also be represented. So there are various types of charts here, right? Okay, what else? Any other thing that comes to your mind?
We're analyzing how the features are related to each other. We can go with a heat map.
Very good. So can I say, like, am I finding any relationship between variables? So am I finding any relationship between variables? Then I can say it is. Sorry, maybe some of you are not familiar with bar chart, line chart. So no worries, I will show you some examples. So finding any relationship between variables. So you said like which one you mentioned? Relationship between variables?
Heat map.
Yeah, and then we also have scatter plot, pair plot, right? And the scatter matrix. So depending on which library you are using, pair plot, scatter. So like that, scatter matrix and scatter plot, etc. Okay. So any other thing that comes to your mind, like what else?
When we don't have any direct relationship between different features, then we can use bar chart.
Okay, so that is categorical data. You want to represent something, yeah. So you are showing maybe comparing values. I can say if I am interested in, if I am I interested in comparing categorical data, right? Categorical data. Then maybe you are looking into the composition, maybe, or the breakdown between like male versus female. So this is like bar chart. Okay, that is one. Okay, what else? Like apart from that, like what else? Maybe you are looking at the distribution of data. So am I interested in looking at distribution of data? Uh, Distribution of data. Then maybe you are having density plots. So that is another type, KD plot and then density plot or histogram. Over on top of that, we can have this density plot. So how my data is distributed. So when we go into the code, I will relate with the theory. So no need to worry in case you are not very much familiar with any of these types of plots. Okay, so this was very high level, like which one to choose when. This should basically answer that. So now I think some people started joined just now. So we started with this, like what is storytelling, why it is important, and then we started to discuss how can we present our data and what factors. These are the factors based on which you will choose your type of chart, right? So now coming back here, we were discussing storytelling is an art as well as it is a science. So when we are presenting the story, then actually we are using Python here. So we will be writing code in Python, and we will be making use of libraries, and these libraries are Matplotlib and Seaborn. So very first thing, like Matplotlib is basically a very powerful, very matured library of Python, and it is there since long time. So it's having a lot of functions, and you can do a lot of customization, but the thing is that you have to write a lot of code also. So your productivity will be low compared to Seaborn. So Seaborn is like inheriting everything from the Matplotlib. So you can say Matplotlib is like a grandfather, and Seaborn is uh, having all the good parts of Matplotlib. That means it is a wrapper around Matplotlib, and it is having very nice defaults. And here we need to do very less coding compared to Matplotlib. In Matplotlib, we have to write more code. The productivity is low. But in Seaborn, we write very less code compared to Matplotlib. And we are having additional types of charts which are not there in Matplotlib. So these are like violent plot, and you will see a lot of statistical plots are also plotted on top of the existing chart. So there are very good themes, styling, and everything. The defaults are very nice in Seaborn. So we will be making use of both in our example. So we will see some coding examples for Matplotlib and Seaborn. So uh, any questions? Are we good? Can I move on? So there are so many types of plots. We'll see these things practically. Okay, so this is an exercise for today, but that will be towards the end. So let's go to the code. So we have already installed Jupyter Lab, and last meetup. And in case you are not familiar with Python, you can go to our YouTube channel. So in YouTube channel, you will find Data Couch. So in this YouTube channel, you will find the Python videos. In case you are not comfortable with Python, you can watch. There are like 19 videos for Python specifically. If you go to the playlist, you will find there are a lot of videos. As this is single node cluster, so you will find videos for this Matplotlib and sorry, the Python, and you will also find videos for a lot of other things like related to like specifically the previous meetups. You will find videos. So before we go into the code, I also want to highlight there are some mistakes that we make in storytelling. So uh, you will see like if you have visualization like this. So can someone share like what is the problem with the visualization on the left side? Like if you see this bar chart, so this horizontal bar chart. So what is the problem with this horizontal bar chart? Do you see any issue with this bar chart?
Values.
So you
The normalization is not.
okay, great. So the scale is not proper. So that's why there is a break here, right? So that is one problem. And any other problem do you see with this?
Different colors are shown, but not.
Absolutely. So here you are not having any legend, right? So you are showing different colors. They don't mean anything here. So it looks like the Labour Party is just behind this, maybe Jeremy, by maybe certain numbers. Uh, but if you see this plot, then you see that the second highest party is far behind the highest vote. Maybe this party is having the highest number of likes. So you can say this plot is not telling the true story as such. There is the scale is not proper, and second thing is there are different colors being used, but they don't mean anything as such here. And here, this is much more consistent. So this is one misleading chart. So I would highly recommend, please do read this article. Here you will find many other interesting problems in the visualization. And do you see any other problem, like maybe in this particular case, like which chart is better and why you think that chart is better? If you can see, like this is another visualization which is not communicating the results effectively. The story is not properly communicated. So any thoughts? Like what is the problem with this particular?
Overlapping.
Both the lines are overlapping.
Yeah, so overlapping is fine, like because maybe the data is like that. But what is the issue that you see? Like because data is same in both cases. Data is same, but we have changed the scale. So here in this case, if you, I'm not sure if you know covariance, like if you change one unit of one variable and then how much it will impact the other variable. So right now, if you see the scale is 44, 45 and 20, 21, that means 1 unit change in the weight and 1 unit change in the neck size. So this is not properly scaled. If you find out the covariance of these two variables, then you will find that it is 1:2. That means the scale should also be in that manner so that it should represent the true story. Otherwise, your management will take wrong decision and they will basically think that they are varying, like there is a covariance. But actually, when you plot it at the same scale where the covariance is different, then only this will communicate. That means that these two things are diverging rather than like overlapping. So this is a this chart is telling a different story. This chart is telling a different story for the same data. So that means you need to be very cautious because you are a data scientist. You are at a very responsible position. So as a data scientist or as a data analyst, you are at a very responsible position. You are communicating stories to your consumers or your management, and if they don't basically interpret the results properly, if you don't present it in the meaningful way or in the right manner, then it will impact and they may take wrong decisions. So it is very important. You should take care of misleading visualizations or misleading stories. You should be very much aware about these problems. Yeah. So I understand there are so many other things in misleading visualizations. So I have a lot of other examples to show, but for the time being, I am showing the important ones. Yeah, Diptansh, please go ahead.
So why they have exchanged the axis, like weight on the left side, on another graph it's on the right side?
That's not the problem. Basically, the problem, this is the scale which is important here, right? So if you change the scale, if you present it in that manner, so actually the point that is being mentioned or communicated here is the two lines are being diverged. So you should basically focus on the scale. That is the important thing. Even if you keep it like that, it will not impact much, but it is about the scale that matters here a lot because there is a difference in the covariance. I hope it makes sense, Kanch.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now it's over to code. If you have any questions on like the things that we discussed, please feel free to ask. Do you know what is the difference between bar chart and histogram before we move on? Anyone? What is the difference between bar chart and histogram?
Yeah, we can take the midpoint of bar graph and then we can plot a histogram.
Histogram, I will show you with the help of some picture. Histogram. So if you see histogram, it looks like this, right? And if you see bar chart, I will open bar chart in a different tab. Open a new tab and I will open bar chart here. And you can see like maybe I will choose bar chart for one single. We'll go to Wikipedia, that's the best source. So so this is bar chart. Okay, this is bar chart. This is a horizontal bar chart. Let's go to the Google Images and pick up one image which is having single. Yeah, this is bar chart. Now, what is the difference between histogram? Let's focus on this histogram. This is histogram, and there is another. This one is bar chart. What difference do you see?
In histogram, we have continuous values.
Would, yeah, yeah. And bar chart, it is discrete,
Different.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other difference do you see?
On the x-axis, the values are totally unrelated in a bar chart.
Yeah, yeah. There is no sequence also, or it's not ordered as such. Like they are independent of each other. Yeah. Okay. And do you see like here in histogram we can see the distribution of data, like how like let's say this distribution of data means like let's say I am a gaming, like I'm having a like let's say I am having a gaming application, and I see users who are using that application. You see most of the users are between age 30 to maybe age 70, let's say 30 to 70. But there are some old users also, and there are like very young users also, compare like, or maybe younger users also. So this is like a distribution of my users. So this particular histogram is telling a story to me, right? And it is all numerical data, and there you will see this is categorical data. So depending on type of data also you will be choosing. So you will be choosing this for distribution of data, and you will be choosing this for comparing classes, right? So you're comparing red versus blue versus green. So you're comparing classes. So this is very high level difference between like histogram and bar chart. So now let's go to the code and let's see like how do we do it. Now, very first thing, do you remember like Matplotlib and Seaborn? We discussed about these two libraries, but before we go into Matplotlib and Seaborn, I will first talk about pandas. So we are just doing import pandas as PD, and PD dot maybe you have some data frame. So I can say df equals to PD dot read CSV, and I want to read the data from a data set, and we can actually read underscore CSV, right? Um, so this one is like the data that we are having in the data folder. So we'll just pick up that data, and this data is, let's say, UFO data. So this is my data frame, and I will read this data. So this is a UFO data set, and I will just quickly show you how it looks like. So this is how the data set is. So this data set is having this data frame is having various columns, and this is UFO means unidentified flying objects, and this data set is having various columns. So if you just see df.plot and do question mark. So I am not into Matplotlib right now. I am not into Seaborn right now. I am saying whatever you learned in the last meetup, we will focus on that first, and then we will introduce some new library. So first of all, I am showing you what is there in DF. So if you do df.plot, that means if you remember in the last meetup, in like last to last meetup, we discussed pandas, and there I mentioned this thing like pandas is also having visualization capabilities, and this visualization capabilities is actually inherited from Matplotlib. You remember I just mentioned Matplotlib is like a grandfather. So when I say grandfather, that means like it is inherited by so many other libraries. So you can just go down and see. You will see Matplotlib is there in pandas also. I have not imported Matplotlib as such, but if you go down Matplotlib, can you see Matplotlib is being used internally. So pandas, Seaborn, and lot of other libraries you will find they are using Matplotlib internally. So we have not imported Matplotlib, but they are still using. Now, just see this one. This part is plotting, and we can specify what kind of plot we want to have. So there are different types of plots which are supported in pandas itself. So in case you don't want to import Matplotlib, you don't want to import Seaborn, you want to work with pandas only, you can make use of plot method. And just remember this part, by default the plot is line plot, right? So does it make sense like what I am highlighting, what I am pointing right now, like what exactly it is? Any
Yes.
question? Okay. So if you are clear, if you are okay, then maybe we can actually just make use of pandas first, and then we can actually start looking into the matplotlib and Seaborn. So maybe we can actually have some more uh, uh, let's say plots. So for doing it, let's say I will just quickly do one thing. So we have this data frame, and in this data frame we have UFO data set, and we know that there is a timestamp here. And this timestamp, I want to basically have this timestamp. If I just do df dot info, then it will show me that there is time also, and it is right now object. So what I want to do here is I want to introduce a couple of new columns, and those columns will help me in plotting the data set. So let's say I'm adding this another column df.time, and then I'm saying pd, and here we have this data frame is having this time, right? And what I want to do here is like I want to convert this into date time. So I will quickly use a function date time, and then I will just simply do df, and I can say this is my time, right? So this is just a variable, and we are setting this value to df.time. So we can see like once this is done, df.info, let's see. So now it is now date time format, right? So we just converted that. Now what else we want to do? Maybe we want to plot year also. So we will just keep this year, and we will retrieve year from the timestamp. So this is my year, and I can simply retrieve ut, and we can say this df dot this is my time. I can, we can refer this time or this value, this using this notation. I can refer to a column using this notation, or I can refer to the column using this notation. Both are same, right? So I'm just making use of that, and we are retrieving the year. So now I have two additional column, and I can simply do df.info, and I can see we have additional column which is like an integer, and I have the year. So what I want to do here is I want to plot, and I don't want to use matplotlib or Seaborn. I want to plot this using various techniques. So before I plot, I want to see, I want to explore it. I want to understand what exactly we are having. So one thing I can do here is like I can do df dot head, and I want to see what is there in my data set. Okay, so I see there is time, there is year. So we did some data enrichment, and we added some additional columns here, and we got this year column. Now this df, and I want to know how many unidentified flying objects were there in each year. So maybe I can just use value underscore count. This value underscore counts is a method which is like which will give us that, and then I can see. So right now we have this data, and this is showing me like how many UFOs were detected, were identified, like in each year, right? So in 2012 there are so many, and in 1934 there was only one. So I can see this is a series. This is a series. If you see the type of this, you will find the type is series, because this is a series. And what is a series in pandas? Series means like we have this index and we have these numbers, right? So you want to see in the sorted manner. So you want to know the story, or you want to create a story. So if you sort it, then this is how it will look like. So after sorting, you can see 1930 there were 2 UFOs detected. Similarly, 1931 there were 2 UFOs detected, and one, and like that. You can see we are able to understand a bit, not much. Can you see the problem here? The problem is the data right now is in tabular manner, and we don't know the story behind the data right now. So we are trying to interpret our data. But if you have to explain it to anyone, then you can just simply say that I can like 1930 there were very less number of UFOs detected, and in 2014 there are so many UFOs detected. But you don't know what happened in between. Or even if you are able to show, that's fine. Like you can present it maybe in a tabular manner, but it will not help you, because it is too much data. Like 1930s to 2014, it's almost like 85 years of data. So 85 rows will be there. So presenting it to anyone will not make sense. So what you need to do here is you will be doing plotting. So in order to plot it, so we'll just copy and we will plot it. So dot plot and we'll run it. Okay. So now can someone tell me what is the story in this data? Do you see any story in this data?
We can see that the
Exponential.
sightings has gone up after 2000, and towards the end, towards 2014, it has come down.
Yeah. So
Exponential growth in the data.
okay, great. Okay, so you know this data you can create n number of stories. If you are a political party, then you will say when our political party came into the power, then we worked hard in the astronomy and we are able to detect so many UFOs. So you can present it in that manner. If you are a maybe like a company into telecom domain, then you can say because of advancement in internet speed, people are able to detect UFOs and they are able to report those UFOs in real time. So if you are into telecom domain, if you are into maybe a domain in astronomy, or maybe you can say the NASA, or you are into maybe manufacturing of telescope, then you can say our telescopes are doing better. Earlier we were people were not able to detect, and now they are able to detect. So you can say depending on domain, you can have a different interpretation of this story, right? But data is same, right? So the thing to take care here is like now my question to you is like what kind of plot it is? What kind of plot it is?
Line plot.
Okay, why line plot?
Because we didn't define anything.
Very nice,
Default one is line.
very nice. So when I started, I said plot method. We were looking at the documentation. We can do df.plot, and when we look at the documentation of plot method, line plot is a default one, and that's why it is plotting the line plot, not the other one. So if you want to change, you can always pass a parameter kind, and you can say, let's say I am saying kind equals to I want to, let's say, show something else. So let's say I'm doing bar, which is not the best one or not the good one. So you can say this is bar chart. Maybe you can change, and you can change the height and width of the plot, and then this is like 1930s each year what is happening, and then it shows some trend, right? So bar chart, and bar H means horizontal bar chart, right? So this is horizontal bar chart. So you have this parameter, you can play with this parameter and you can change the type of plot, but line plot is making sense here, right? So any questions till now? If you have anything, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I will start evolving this further. So let's say we have other data sets, like let's say um, we have drinks data set. So I'm doing drinks equals to pd dot read csv, pd dot read csv, and I will quickly import that data also, data slash drinks CSV, right? So there's drinks data set, and we'll see what is there in the drinks data set. And this is head, the drinks dot head. Okay, this is fine. So I have this. Now we just looked at the number of UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Now we are looking into the some maybe categorical data. So we have continent. So we can say drinks dot continent, and we can say I want to plot. But first of all, I want to understand the maybe value count. So I have value counts, and I can say dot plot. I can do plot. So when I do that, so continent, okay, I did not specify this properly. So let's fix. Okay, so do you see any issue with this plot?
It's a line chart, but we are trying to represent categories of continents.
Yeah. So this is not the right type of plot. So what we need to do here is, what should I do
To
now?
specify kind as bar chart.
So one option is I can do, and this makes sense, right? So we are saying like in Africa, this much like these many records are there in the strings data set for African continent. For European continent, these many records are there. For Asian continent, we have this. So it is telling a story about the data. Now, this was basically about Matplotlib embedded within pandas, but um, we do have Matplotlib and we do have Seaborn. So for that, we can import Matplotlib as PLT, or we can say matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, or import Seaborn as SNS. So we can import these libraries, Seaborn as SNS, and then this will be available to us. And similarly, we can import Matplotlib. So when we are importing Matplotlib, so we have one thing which is called as
Inline.
yeah, Matplotlib inline. So we will do that. So this Matplotlib we are importing as PLT, let's say, and we are saying this is magic function and Matplotlib inline. So what does it mean? Can someone tell me, like, why do we need this statement in Jupyter Notebook? Anyone? What is this Matplotlib inline?
Just to embed the graph in the
Yeah.
notebook instead of a new window.
Yeah, absolutely. So our objective is like whatever visualization will happen, it should basically be shown within this Jupyter Notebook rather than maybe having a separate file or maybe a pop-up. So we don't want that. We want everything should be embedded within this. So this is like one thing. Let's say we do like Matplotlib inline. So this is a standard that you will see in your notebooks. You will find this thing happening a lot. So now, like every meetup, we have certain assignments also. Before I miss that assignment, I want to show you very quickly. There is a link for that assignment. So let me open that. Um, in case you have any questions on the past assignments, feel free to ask. So we started to give these assignments so that you have something to do later on after the class, after this session. So that's why we are giving this assignment. So this assignment, I'm able to find it very quickly. So here I'm just showing you. So this is the assignment. So what you need to do here is like you need to plot this. So we have one housing data set also. So before, actually, I'm now aligning my discussion towards that assignment so that you have something to do at your end and you know what to do. Like, so I'm saying housing data set, housing equals to maybe df dot or maybe pd dot read csv, and we are having housing data set. So we'll just quickly import that data slash housing. Housing, Boston housing. The data set name is Boston. So this is very first thing, and we have this housing data set dot head, and we can see this is our data. So this housing data set, Boston housing data set, we have important columns. So you can say this is the median price, median value of the house. Maybe you can assume, let's say 24 million, 21.6 million, 34.7 million. So this is the price of the house. And this is like RM means number of rooms. Maybe it is not making a lot of sense, like 6.5. But this is how the data is. You can go to the Kaggle and you will find data set Boston housing data set Kaggle. If you go there, you will find we have the data dictionary also. There you can understand each attribute, what is the meaning of each attribute. So this data set is coming from there only. So if you go down, you can see RM. RM should be here. So median value of the house, and this is in 100K. So this is in K, so not in million. So RM, the average number of rooms per dwelling. So that's basically the attribute. So now what we need to do here is we have some assignments, and in this assignment, for this is all syntax. If you Google, you will find Matplotlib cheat sheet. So whenever you are working with these visualization, so you should always refer to these cheat sheets, and you will find very interesting cheat sheet. If you go to images, there are some easy. The very first link is very good. So if you go to this cheat sheet, you will find uh, which all parameters we need to pass, and this is all syntax. So I'm saying, like, if you are working in storytelling, you are doing some data visualization and performing some data science work. So it will be great if you can print these cheat sheet and post it on your, maybe paste it on your desk itself, so that you have quick reference. So in these cheat sheet, you can easily get the syntax. So how to have a line, solid line, and there is a relationship between number of rooms and the price of the house. So this is price of the house and this is number of rooms. So there is a relationship. So through this, so we want to communicate this story to the management, like how can we basically show some relationship between the number of rooms and price of the house. So first of all, when you come up with the first visualization, you will see the relationship is not so intuitive. Then second step would be to normalize your data, so that after normalization, you will find when number of rooms are varying in our data, then the number, like housing price, is also varying. So this is one assignment for you today. Like if you can maybe try to solve this on your own. It is just a line plot. So you need to plot these two things together using Matplotlib. And this code is very simple. You need to refer. If you Google, you will find 100 examples of like how to plot a line chart through Matplotlib. That is not the point, because the idea behind this meetup is not to teach you the syntax, or not to like focus on nitty gritty, or like, because anyhow you will never remember the syntax. You have to Google. So you can simply Google. You will find it. But the idea is like which one to choose when. Concept should be clear, and when you are going for a certain approach, then that approach is not working, then why you are applying normalization, and how normalization is helping. So I am giving you sufficient hints for this particular assignment. So please do work on this. And another one, like having some more hints, like how do we do this. When you are doing second assignment, please do refer to the cheat sheet to know like how do we make use of cheat sheet. So that is the basically idea. Like um, how can we change the legend, like which place, because there are four locations where you can have the legend. Like you can have -1, like you can have -1, -2, -3, -4. So you can change those location, and then you can see visualization, the legend location is changing in the plot. And then similarly, we have COVID data set, and you need to plot it on the word map. So these are three assignments. So I hope this meetup was useful to you. Like you got some idea, you got some kickstart. Like in case you are not sure how to set up this environment, go through our previous meetup videos. You will find a number of examples on our YouTube channel, like how to set up Anaconda, how to work with Python. And if you're comfortable with those like Pandas, Python, and um, Anaconda, then you can start working on these assignments. So if you have any questions, you can stay back. Otherwise, we are done for the day. So thank you so much for your time.
Bhavuk, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, how we will be plotting the COVID data, means how we will be mapping that to the countries.
Okay, so if you go to the data set, this is again coming from Kaggle, right? So you will find we have country-wise latest data. So for each country, you will find number of deaths, number of confirmed cases, number of recovered, active cases. So these kind of things, new cases and other things. So you have this data. Now, when you are plotting this on a map, so Matplotlib give you a lot of geo functions. So if you go Matplotlib, geographical map, or geo map, or you will find geospatial data, how to plot. So you will find lot of examples like geographical maps specifically, and even like these maps. I will go to the images directly, and here you can plot this data on this, right? And for each country, the data is associated with that. So you will be able to relate, and you will be able to plot using this geographical map. And syntax you can easily find if you go to the very first example. So I worked in location intelligence domain a lot. So in location intelligence domain, we have a concept of base map, and on top of that we have layers. So every map is having multiple layers. So one layer may be satellite layer, another layer may be traffic layer, another layer. So you have different layers on top of the base map. So this is like geographical data using a base map. Using Matplotlib, you can plot this very easily. So I'm giving you some hints, just explore and try to plot it. So that's why we gave you the assignment, so that you try your own and you come up with something new, something interesting. Does it make sense, Diptansh? Like, how do we do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So any other question apart from that?
So we just have to do the mapping. We don't have to plot those shapes.
Actually, when you do the, then it will basically represent those numbers. Now, when I was working in location, I was working for Pitney Bowes. There is a company. So in the mapping domain, we were plotting even the bar chart or like histogram on top of the base map. So there is a spectral Pitney Bowes. So this is the company that I'm referring, and this is into location intelligence domain. In location intelligence domain. So what we were doing, we were basically plotting this thing. So they like there is a product also. Can you see? We have heat maps on top of base map. So you can do all these things. There are specialized libraries also. If you Google, you'll find JavaScript libraries for location intelligence. You will find n number of libraries. So what I'm pointing here is on top of base map, you can have multiple visualization. And this is one example, like you are having heat map, like number of deaths are more. So you can have a lot of innovative stories. You can say red color, maybe if number is very high. You can say green color if number is very low. So depending on that, you can change the visualization. And you can even have pie chart, you can have bar graph, so you can see like which visualization is making more sense. So in case you want to like first try on your own, and then we can discuss this further maybe next session. Yeah, okay. So thank you so much for your time. We'll keep scheduling these kind of meetups in future also. We are doing it for last 2 months now. Next meetup you can expect in maybe couple of weeks itself. Like, so if you have any specific preference for any of the topics, we are more than happy. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Bob.
No problem.
Thank
Bye.
you.
No problem.